Hello, hello, and welcome back to Retrieving Sanity with our podcast host Keegan. And this is your podcast for all mental health, addiction, recovery issues, and topics. And today we have a very special guest, and that is musician Jim Rezac. I said that right?
It's actually Rezac, but hey,
Rezac.
that's close enough. You should hear what I get sometimes.
Oh, what is one of the other versions of your last name that you've heard?
Well, my first girlfriend ever, her father used to call me Spivak. I've had, when Ajax, you name it. It's like,
Oh man.
mostly Rezac is what I get, and I think that's close to what you did. So you're in good company.
Okay, well, I have a tendency of messing up people's surnames for some reason. I guess they can be a little bit more ambiguous than first names. So, but anyways, Mr. Jim, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself? Like,
Yeah.
where are you from? What do you do? Obviously, you're a musician, but if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken, that's relatively new too to you, right?
Well, I've been a musician. I've been playing guitar all my life, and about
Okay.
14 years ago, I started writing quite accidentally. I showed up at an audition for an Americana band, and
Hmm.
I noticed that two of the what were to be two of the members that were
Hmm.
already there. They had a nucleus of three people: a bass player, a guitar player, singer, a female singer, and a drummer,
Hmm.
and or a mandolin player. And then the drummer and I
Hmm.
showed up as new units, I guess. And first thing I noticed was two of them wrote songs. So they each had three original songs in their set list. And they, instead of the band that's, hey, we're a cover band, but they announced their one, hey, we're going to do our original. And everybody gets up and goes to the bathroom. They were a band that had enough confidence
um.
in their music. They threw it right in there, and they had a good, healthy amount. And I went
Hmm.
home thinking, anyone who plays guitar, do you play? Do you ever play guitar?
Percussion.
Okay. Anyone who's ever, well, I don't know what it is like for percussionists, but anyone who's ever played guitar probably has noodled around with something, goofed around with something, come up with a little nugget or
Hmm.
whatever, and uh, has discovered that, hey, maybe this could be a song. Well, I did that, but not much, and I didn't ever finish anything.
Hmm.
This audition made me go home. Not only did I get in the band, but I went to him a couple weeks later. Showed up at the lead singer. Her name is Bobby Fischer, by the way, and I
Oh.
always thought that was so cool. No relation to the chess player, but showed up at her house with like a bottle of wine and said, "Hey, I have three songs I want to throw at you, but I need a little liquid courage, which I don't do anymore. Thank God. Yeah, we can talk. We can talk about that too. I've been sober for a little bit now, and
Congratulations.
it's yeah. Thank you. It's a waking up on a nice day like this and feeling like this is really good. It's a blessing. So
Hmm.
anyway, so I showed up at her house and I said, "Hey, I'd like to play three songs for you." And
Uh-huh.
and they all made it to their set list. And ever since then, I've been writing. It was I know a lot of people that retire or whatever. And
Hmm.
they get into songwriting. Guys my age, because as you can tell, they you can see me, and as you can tell, I'm no spring chicken. But they become songwriters, and
Uh-huh.
they write a lot of. But I did it, and I dove into it head first, and I had finally. I don't know. I can get spiritual about it. I found my voice. I found my calling, my passion, whatever. But yeah, all those. But that's yeah. I'm sorry. I'm really rambling this morning.
Oh
I only
no.
had one cup of coffee.
Oh no. Ramble all you want. This is your episode.
Okay.
This is the time for you to get whatever out there you want to get out there, talk about whatever you want. So, um, but songwriting. So you started off with three songs. How many songs do you have now?
Oh, okay. So it became my day. This is what I started doing, and I
Hmm.
would, like anything you do. Sometimes you wake up, and as soon as one eyelid is open, you're already working, thinking about maybe you thinking about your next podcast, whatever.
Hmm.
And that became me, and I started writing every day. So
Oh wow.
if I were to answer the question, it would probably be several hundred, but a lot of them aren't good. A lot of them aren't finished.
Uh-huh.
Um, every now and then I will go through. Some of them are just I keep an organized. That's the only thing that's organized in my life. My song. I have an app, a songwriting app, and I have folders. And there's a
Mm.
folder for completed songs, for in progress. There are some that are just ideas.
Hmm.
You're riding down the highway and an idea comes to you and you hum it into the phone, blah blah blah. And some of them it sounds horrible because I'm not really hitting the pitch there. But yeah, I have a bunch of them, and I've been doing it. I've been very, very blessed because I have I consider it a short time. I guess it's starting to become 13 years is a while now. But
Mm.
I was able to get some music in film. I have a podcast theme song that actually won
Huh.
me an award. So yeah, I found a way to have a lot of fun with it and just keep doing it every day.
That is way too cool. So it's kind of like songwriting is almost like poetry in a sense, isn't it? You just put music to lyrics.
Yeah, yeah. Let me comment on that's a
Yeah.
really good statement because a lot of people I've had people when they find out that I write will come to me with poems. They say, "Look, I wrote a lot of poems when I was in high school. I was wondering if you could put music to them." And I probably could. I'm probably being lazy or self-important. I don't know, but it's not the way I work. Usually,
Ah.
I think of a melody or something, and whatever that is pull. Like I don't say, you know what, I'm going to write a political
Oh.
song today, or I'm going to write a love song. I don't and sit down and write it. I have to have the music come to me, and whatever how music pulls
Mm-hmm.
stuff out of you or makes you feel stuff.
Uh-huh.
Whatever that particular line that popped, or whatever the music is pulling out of me, that's where I
Mm-hmm.
go. That's the direction I go, and then I write. So I'm a little.
Ah.
I guess that's a little different than some people.
Kind of like reverse engineering.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but sorry about that. That was me. But I I should have turned off all those notifications. Um, but there are some, and I know that there might be a better way to do it. I don't know. That's the way I do it. But it wasn't like uh, Bernie Taupin and Elton John that wrote in separate room. Like one would write the music, give like he
Oh.
would give it. Bernie would write the music. No, would write the lyrics,
Mm-hmm.
give it to Elton, and Elton would. That's what I've always heard. So I
Uh.
admire that because I think that's probably harder because
Uh.
I have to take you know.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like taking someone else's idea and trying to finish their idea.
Yeah, and I think therein lies the rub because it's like, hey, I wrote these lyrics and they're filled. I have they they're deep. They mean a lot to me. I got
Mm.
passion in them or whatever. And here I'm going to put them on a paper. And I want you to feel the same thing and complete the music too. Yeah. And it might happen easier than that, but I think I'm afraid of it. I think I'm saying,
Mm.
this guy's pouring out his soul, and I gotta match that with the music, and
Mm.
I don't know. That's tough, I think, because I think you might not be feeling like obviously in his head and heart or whatever the songwriter, the
Mm.
lyricist has been through that, and you're like trying to say, okay, I got to get in that mindset before I write the music. I don't know.
Mm. Yeah, it's kind of like whenever you're reading a book, unless you've kind of experienced something similar, you're never really going to get the same feeling, you know.
Yeah,
So I bet it'd be kind of like how relatable is it to you in the moment. Um, but I don't know. I've never written melodies. I do get caught in a sing song all the time. Just throughout the day, I'll just start randomly singing random stuff. But
oh, that's great.
but it never really turns into like a song. And I've
Yeah,
had a few moments where it's like, oh hey, that actually sounded good. But then as soon as I try to remember it, it's just gone. It wasn't meant for me to hold on to.
right. Yeah, that's boy. You just described. Yeah, there were a lot of moments like that. Do you, if you don't mind me asking a personal question, do
Mhm.
you have kids?
I don't. Not at the
Okay,
moment.
well, I think having kids, when you mentioned sing-songy stuff, boy, nothing. I don't know. I think it's a dad thing, maybe. But I had two boys, and I was always coming up, and it didn't matter. to them. It just had to be silly and stupid, and every now and then you throw the word "but" in there, stuff like that, and they think it's funny, and it's like, but you'd make up songs about eating cereal or brushing your teeth or something. And I suspect that might have prepped me for, because I didn't start writing music till they were actually grown a bit, So, but that's funny. You just break out into it in the middle of it. Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah, and sometimes I get stuck in it, and sometimes it'll drive the wife a little crazy because she's like, "You're just stuck, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." But whenever it comes to writing music, obviously it's got to do something with your mental health, because I know music for me, it can be the thing that either sets me off, like it finally was what got that emotion out of me, and then sometimes it's the thing that'll placate me and soothe me and make me actually feel like the world is going to be okay, you
Wow.
know.
That is cool and deep, but that is, wow. That's a mouthful. I like that. It's you see it all posted all over media about how music. This is my safe place. This is where I go when I need cheering up or whatever. But I think it's like you said. It's cathartic. It pulls stuff. My mom always called it, I think you need a good cry, and sometimes I find myself wanting to listen to like really sad, the heartbreaking stuff that, not because I want to be that, just be in that place, but it's just like, okay, I need to get this out of me. Like you said, it kind of pulls it out of you, maybe helps you. It's therapy.
Does writing the music have the same therapeutic effect as hearing someone else's music?
Oh, okay.
Or is it more?
I'm not going to beat around that bush. I'm going to answer that directly. For me, yes, writing it is more therapeutic than, I can listen to a song and I can get, I can feel happy. I can get teared up. It can touch my heart. But because I think when I'm writing it, I don't think any of my songs are autobiographical from A to Z, like from first verse to the ending chord. But it's definitely how it starts. It starts with something that I can relate to, that happened to me or whatever. So that's in each song. So I think even though I can relate to someone else's song about happiness or pain or whatever, I think writing the song because I went through that, or whatever it is, I think makes it. So in answer to your question, yeah, definitely writing it more so than listening for me.
So, and that's awesome, but I do have another question that I've always been curious about. So whenever a songwriter writes an emotional song, whenever it's recorded on the disc and stuff, if they're being passionate about it, if they're putting their heart and soul into it, you can hear it, you can feel it in the song, right? So whenever they perform it on stage, don't they have to essentially relive that moment that they wrote it? And
Oh wow, you're good at this. No, you do. You ask some great questions. I don't think I've ever been asked that before. Yeah, you do. Now you have to, and sometimes it's like I do a lot of these songwriter showcases or songwriter in the round, where you have 2 or 3 people on stage and each do a song, and you hear some guy's funny song about this or that, or a sad song or whatever. Then it's your turn, and you have to kind of, it's like watching some, you watch those bloopers where someone is cracking up, like doing the Seinfeld show, and they're like, okay, I got to get serious, and they slap their faces. Okay, thinking of Elaine, and and they quickly get into. But you're right, yeah. I have played a song over and over and over and over again, and every now and then you get you're not phoning it in, but you're not feeling it as much because But then there are times when I've played a song like 100 times, that someone will come up after and say, "Wow, I can tell you're, boy, that you really made me feel that," or whatever. So But you're right. I guess you have to, each time you play it, you have to, you know, if not, you have to really sell it. That's
And that's what lip syncing comes into play for,
yeah,
right?
yeah, right. Milli Vanilli, right? Yeah, uh, yeah, lip syncing. Yeah,
Oh, that's a good question. How many artists do you think actually do that? Because to
Ooh,
me, I think more than what should.
I do have some thoughts on that. I'm a morning person. I
Uh
don't
huh.
watch much TV in the morning, but lately I've been. Someone's got me watching some Good Morning America and stuff like that. And I'll throw it on. And they have artists come on
Mm-hmm.
in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
sounding perfectly in pitch, you know, and their voice sounds like they've been warming up for hours, you know. And I'm thinking, I wonder if that's lip sync because
Mm-hmm.
you know it's early in the morning. They probably, and you know, they don't have the whole band with them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I get that background tracks and stuff, but I bet you're right. I bet there's more going on than we even know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of sad if thinking about it, but I do have to agree that if I had to do that kind of job, it would be tiresome. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I don't know because I'm not a musician.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a disservice, but at the same time, if I wasn't up for like being able, say like my throat was really messed up one day and there was a big concert, I think it would be a battle of morals, right? Like, do I go on
Right.
stage and lip sync and give them a show and possibly mess up and get told I'm lip syncing, or do I just tell them like, hey guys, like, sorry you paid all this money, I'm not performing because I don't want to lip sync,
I
you
was
know?
just sitting here thinking, damn you, this is supposed to be fun. And now you got me thinking. I don't want to think. No, but that's another, yeah, because, you know, do you go out there and say, well, I want to keep it authentic and really suck? And, you know, it's so authentic that you're, you know, well, the case in point, I really don't, I can't remember the singer's name. I'd never
Hmm.
heard of her. And that's probably just because I'm out of touch, but for the All-Star game, it was the day before they had the home run derby, right? And they
Hmm.
had a young lady come out. I don't even remember her name, and she came out and did one of the worst jobs. I mean, even Roseanne Barr kidding around, messing it up on purpose, wasn't as bad as this young lady's performance. Do you remember that? Do you hear that? And
It rings a bell, but I don't remember who.
it was just this past July, and they they ridiculed her mercilessly in the on social media and everything. She was just, and
Hmm.
I can't believe I don't remember her name. And maybe that's a good thing for her because everyone's. But here's the thing that bothered me a little bit. She quickly blamed it on being really drunk, and she's checking herself into rehab and everything else. And I'm like, I like those. I like that you're doing that, but it sounds more like a marketing thing right now. You know, sounds like you're using it like that's the
Hmm.
flavor of the week, kind of like. But
Hmm.
yeah, just so what do you do? Do you do a lip sync for the national anthem, or do you come? It was go
Ooh.
Google it.
Yeah, that. Oh man,
It was pretty bad. I'll
I
send
don't
you a
know.
link. No, but yeah, that's a good question. Do you do and do you like? I made a joke about Milli Vanilli, and I'm old enough to remember that. Like back in the very early '90s, they had that singing duo, and it was found out that they were lip syncing all their stuff, but not just in a performance. It was never them singing any of the stuff, and they were just the face of it. And I
Hmm.
think that kind of quickly ended their career or something like that. Today, that
Yeah.
probably wouldn't happen. That probably, you know,
Hmm.
uh, I mean, it wouldn't end anyone's career because they were lip syncing or something. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Man, I don't know. Like, maybe that would put you up in a really good job for like improv or something. I don't know. Like, you got to
yeah,
be pretty quick on your feet if you're going to lip sync, right?
I would think so. Yeah, boy, I is kind of off the subject, but kind of circling a little back. Um,
Uh-huh.
I had mentioned when you were talking about writing lyrics before what do you do, write the lyrics first, and that
Mhm.
always seems to be a big question. But one of the other things you get asked is about I forgot my main point of that, but I can get back to that. The writing the song, well, it has to do more with do you when you're lip sync. I heard someone, I don't know whether it was, I can't make my point here. Boy, this is getting, what I'm trying to do is make a connection, and I'm not doing it very eloquently, between improv of like comedy and
Mhm.
something like lip syncing. I think being a stand-up comic, not to really switch gears here, but you made me think of it. I think that has to be the most, I know what the point I was trying to make was. People always ask me, don't you get nervous singing your own stuff about your own feelings in front of people on the stage?
Mm.
And I said, well, first of all, there's hardly anybody in the audience. No, that's not true. But I think the most grueling thing, the scariest thing, has to be being a comic, because I play a 4 or 5 minute song, and then
Mhm.
at the end of that, I'm going to find out whether I died on stage or everyone loves me.
Uh-huh.
In comedy, you're doing it like every 15 seconds. You're that. I admire those people, even the ones that
Uh-huh.
I don't think are so funny. I think, God, that's.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
Yeah, I
Huh.
think things like that keep me doing what I'm doing. I'm not afraid of doing what I'm doing, because I think, no, it
Mhm.
could be worse. I could be comic. Have you ever? There was. I did a podcast where a guy was, part of his gig was he did some stand up. Once I found that out, we reversed roles. I was asking him all kinds of questions, because I think that's got to be the scariest thing.
Mhm. Because not everyone's sense of humor is going to line up.
Right.
So,
And you're
yeah.
finding out about that like I said, every 15 seconds or so, if depending on your comedy style, but still, you know.
Yeah, I guess that gives credence to why stand-up comic will sit there, deliver their line, give it a few seconds to see the response before they move on to the next one,
Yeah.
because they have to kind of tailor that experience as they go along. Uh,
Yeah.
can you do that with music on a set? Can you sit there and read the audience and be like, all right, this next song probably not going to be the best one, so we'll change it up.
Yes, and we do it on the fly. I come up with a set list, and I started getting more and more realistic. I don't do I don't like, okay, I'm doing, there's two other guys, and I've gotten really good at figuring out how many songs, if there's three guys doing a round robin style songwriter thing.
Uh-huh.
I've gotten really good at nailing exactly how many songs. Okay, I'll need 6 songs, but here's an extra one. I write a little cheat sheet, not with the lyrics, but with the
Uh-huh.
titles, because that's how bad I am. I can't remember the song. But I'll put it down. And there's often, like, I'll be listening to how they responded to my song. I'll be listening to how they respond to the other guy's song, the other songwriters there. And I'll
Uh-huh.
look and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to take that. I'm going to put this one. Or I'll leave a song out that's a fun song to play, but I just feel I've been playing it too much, and I
Hmm.
catch the audience. But I do that all the time. There's a song I do called the dog song.
The dog
And
song.
yeah, the dog song. And I won't tell you. I think I have a very bad live recording of it on YouTube. There's a shameless plug there. And the reason I don't, it's actually quite a funny song, but you have to hear it. You have to hear it live. It's not a song. It's like hearing a joke told 5 times in a row.
Uh,
You're not going to laugh the same way. So it's a live audience song, and I've been talked into playing it. There have been some people in the audience said, "Hey, play the dog song," and I'll play it. And too many of them have already heard it. And they're like, they give me a polite little. But yeah, so I have a rule now that I'll go to a place where I know that there, like, hardly anyone has ever heard me.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I won't have that song on the list. And then halfway through the concert, I'll say, "Oh, I'm going to break that out on these guys," and it usually works, you know. But yeah,
uh,
I'm always changing things up. Yeah.
that's awesome. So the dog song, is that kind of like, is that your ace up your sleeve? Like,
It is if I want to make them laugh. Okay, you know what? Let me just tell you about it. I'll tell you the dog song. So
all right.
there's a and that's not going to be funny when you hear it. You know, if you should go listen to it. I've had people tell me, you've got, this is your song. This is the one that's going to make you money. I'm like, yeah. I don't know if I want to be known for this. There's an old saying.
Uh-huh.
Life begins when the kids move out and the dog dies. We don't want the dog to die, but you can't go on the cruise if 13-year-old Fido needs ointment in his ears every day, or twice a day, and needs to be walking, stumbling down the block. You can't leave home for long periods of time when you got a really old dog. So I wrote a song, and the original title was "Waiting for the Dog to Die." But I had to change that because that's the punchline, and the lyrics. The first line is, "I never had a dog when I was a kid, but now that and it's a very old feel to the song. I never had a dog when I was a kid. Now that I'm all grown up, it's the first thing that I did. I found myself a shelter, rescued me a mutt. He was in a cage all alone, chewing on his butt. He followed me to the car. He followed me back home. Ever since that evening long ago, I've never been alone. He waits outside." Sorry about that. "He waits outside the bathroom door. He sticks to me like glue. He loves me so aggressively, I don't know what to do, and I drag it out. So now I'm waiting for the dog to die." A little bouncy song. And at that point, people realize I'm telling them a joke. And the first time I played it, my mother, who's still with us, just turned 90. It was a concert, a songwriter thing at a local library. And it was a very well thought of and a very good friend of mine, talented guitar player, Joey Fulkerson, was in the audience, and a very good friend of mine, Bob Simmons, who is a dog person. I've been to his house many times, a cigar and dinner, and he has these two big dogs, or he did. But out of all the people, I heard my mom, Bob, and Joey. I heard their distinctive laughs. I wasn't looking at them because I'm paying. But yeah, and I thought, "Ooh, this is gold." But you can't play. It's like having an ace up your sleeve, but you better not use it all. Better not always play the ace, So, but yeah, it was quite funny. Got a lot of laughs, and then I played it at up in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania. It's called the Kennett Flash. I was asked to play something similar, where I do a whole set of music, and I was not going to play that song. But I thought, wait a minute, there's no one here that knows me. I don't know their senses of humor, and sometimes that can be dangerous. Like you said, with the comedians telling a joke. So I played the song, and it went over really well. But there's tucked into the next verse. You can't just have the punch. You have to have something funny in the next verse that they don't expect either. And that one landed like a lead balloon. I got to the chorus very quickly, waiting for the dog. But it's fun.
Oh, man.
You get them all singing along, waiting for the dog. Then you act horrified. It's good. It's good shtick. Oh, and you know what's good? In case you're going to ask this one next. But, you orchestrate it, you plan it, you choreograph your set. You asked about the reason I come up with a set list, even though I change it, is because you want to bring them up, bring them down, bring them up, bring them down. So I usually play like a real tearjerker before that, and then the other guys go, and then it's my turn again. These people think, "Oh, he's going to write that sad song about his mother or whatever," and I come out with "Wait for the Dog to Die," and it's a bigger home run. It's like a grand slam. It's so cruel what we do to these people.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's cruel. You're just doing your job. As as a
Okay, I
musician,
like that.
you're supposed to invoke emotions. You're supposed to kind of lead people and tell a story, right? Like, and that's the thing. If you said you have to bring them up, bring them down, bring them up, bring them down,
Yeah.
and I don't know about you, but if I were to go see a movie and it was nothing but 90 minutes of straight kung fu fighting, it'd be like, all right, like this is boring,
Right.
like where's the
See,
story? Like like, okay, how many hits can a guy take? But
right. It's like watching a John Wick movie. It's like, oh my god,
and so
horrible ways are there to die?
yeah,
I
so
need a reprieve. I need a yeah.
yeah, just a little bit of a break. But I love that you would do that, sit there and do the tearjerker and then bring up the funny song,
Yeah.
because that is definitely one of those well, I see that you're down here, let me pick you up with a little bit of a funny thing.
Right. Right. And it's funny. I don't think I've ever done the opposite, where I play the funny song and then the tearjerker, because that's just
That's cruel. Okay, that's
that
a
is.
cruel, that's the cruel one, like
But it's funny the way it's evolved, because I also have a couple of songs that I call them. It might be songs of hope, or just a feel-good song.
mhm.
One's called Big Wave, and it's like, of course, is I live a new life every day. Every day my dreams get bigger. It's kind of schlocky, but it works. I may never make a big wave, but I can always be the river, something like that. And that's a
Oh.
good song to end after that, because it's not a sad. It's like one of those songs. Oh,
Mhm.
that's you know. Uh, so I am realizing after talking to you how much I do that. It's not just random picking songs because someone, I got to play this song. This is a song that people like. No,
Uh-huh.
maybe maybe I put more thought into this than I thought I did.
You read the room a little bit as you're going,
Yeah,
like being on stage, I'm sure you can feel the energy that's in the room. You can feel the vibe that everyone else is giving off. And so I'd say that you're not just a songwriter, but you're also an artist with people in a room, because
yeah,
having the microphone, the guitar, and all that, you're essentially like the orchestrator for an orchestra, like the music director. You're kind of the one telling people, like, all right, y'all are here. We're going to do this dance and we're going to do it now, you
right,
know?
right. Like a wedding DJ. Okay,
Uh
now it's
huh. Yeah, it just, you don't necessarily come with that description, I guess. It's not like people go to a concert expecting to, I don't know, play along, maybe. I don't know. Like, people go to concerts for different reasons. And so I love that you can sit there and you can make them feel I you can probably not elaborate, you can probably exemplify whatever feelings that they're feeling that day.
yeah,
Make
uh,
them feel better, make them just
yeah.
feel stronger.
You're making another good point, because I know that it's the complete experience. It's not just, I'm going here because he writes good songs. Because I
Mhm.
just did a guy that I frequently play with, and a very good songwriter from this area, Saul
Mhm.
Knopf. I just did a songwriter showcase with him, and we've done a couple of these where it's been just him and I, but usually he likes to have 3, maybe 4 songwriters up on stage and
Oh,
do a
wow.
round robin. So the
Uh-huh.
fact that we're only doing 2 means you're going to be doing more, and it's not filler. But he and I, because we've known each other,
Mhm.
um, there's a lot of material that's non-music related, just like jokes between us, and just
Mhm.
funny stuff, setups, and that happens naturally. And someone actually commented on that. They pulled me aside after the last one we did at the beginning of October. They said,
Uh-huh.
I think I enjoy watching you guys tell, and the stories about the songs.
Uh-huh.
And of course, I have a favorite little joke I make each time. I said, it's okay to tell stories for each song, just as long as none of the stories are longer than the song itself. That's a cardinal rule with me,
Oh
but
yeah.
we have a lot of fun, and um, I realize that's part of the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Even so much, I'm sure you've heard this. Everyone's been telling me for at least 20, maybe even close to 30 years. CDs are dead, right? It's all about digital, streaming and this and that. Yet
Hmm.
some people don't even have CD players anymore. Not in their cars. The new computers don't have disk drives,
Hmm.
but we as artists still make those CDs and have them available for them to buy because
Hmm.
they want to take a piece of the
Yeah.
experience. I don't know. I don't sell tons of them, but I sell enough CDs where I'm thinking, are all these people, it's ending up as a coaster on their desk or something like that. But that's okay because
Hmm.
it's like, no, I just want to take this home and while I'm
Yeah.
driving back, my wife's going to read the back of it.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, uh, it's the whole package, I guess, and that's
Oh, it totally is. And I'm so glad that you can see that because it really is those little things that make up the whole experience. I don't know if you know about Rocklahoma, but
I don't
it's
think
a
I do.
music fest that happens up in Pryor, Oklahoma. It used
Okay,
to be in March, I think, and now it's in September.
okay,
But it's a big 3-4 day music fest.
I like it already.
Yeah, last time I was there, I think there was like 70 plus thousand people.
Wow.
So it was huge, but uh, you had all these different stages going and stuff, but it was really those little in between moments. But I remember the artists that did the fun stuff in between songs. I remember them so much more. Like Steel Panther, I
Wow.
love Steel Panther because they're like they're like comedians on set, and they just happen to play music.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think that that's what is great about the whole experience because it's not just about the music, it's what happens in between the sets, you know.
Boy, you here in little old Dover, Delaware, we years ago, I don't know, it was 2013 or something like that, 2012,
Mhm.
2013, they started having they brought one of those concerts here. It was called Firefly.
Mm.
Unfortunately, oh yeah, uh, Green Day, Bob Dylan, Tom
Mm.
Petty, Florence and the Machine, anybody, everybody, the Killers. I
Mhm.
can go on and on with just, Megan the Stallion, just everything electronic, hip hop, uh, Lucas Nelson. Oh, it just like over the years, all the best have played here. I'm sitting here trying to remember the names, and that's not as easy as remembering the experience. I went.
Mhm.
They had all those stages. My favorite was something they called the Tree House, which was tucked inside the trees. You had to,
Huh.
and it didn't have. It wasn't like the main stage where you can fit half the people in attendance there. You
Uh-huh.
could. That's annoying me. Sorry about that.
You're
But there
fine.
was um, the they had the neatest acts there, and some of them were people I've never heard of since then. Like but there's a band out of Philly called Snack Time.
Mm.
There's a plug for some guys, and they've got horns and everything else, and they all wear jerseys that look like Philadelphia 76ers jerseys, but they're black with red. But you can
Mm.
tell it looks like yeah. Um, but they had like the tuba player. They had a tuba player.
Huh.
That was their bass player, and he had it mic'd up going through an Ampeg amplifier, a bass amplifier,
Wow.
stack,
Uh-huh.
and it looked like he hadn't polished that horn since the day he got it. It was just, which made it cool.
Uh-huh.
Another guy had a trumpet, and the trumpet was electrified also, going through a pedal board like a guitarist would. He had a
Huh.
wah wah pedal. He was doing trumpet with wah wah. I'm like, oh my god! So it's those little and I remember their name. If you were asked to ask me who definitely what are the big headliners, I could probably guess, but I don't know.
Mhm.
But yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. A truck would pull up. You know what it's like on a festival. Everyone's walking around, and I'm one of the older guys walking around there, and a truck would pull up, old truck, and this one year, truck pulled up, the flatbed came off, and these guys jumped out and did an impromptu jam. And I think
Huh.
they had like battery powered guitar amp and bass amp, maybe an upright bass. So they weren't looking to project white, but they just did
Uh-huh.
these, they boom, these, and then they jump back in and drive around some other place. And they did that for a couple hours. And you're right. It's like, those are the guys that I remember.
Uh-huh. That is way too cool. That does remind me a little bit more of Rocklahoma because you have your campgrounds and stuff. And so out
Yeah.
in the campground, they have their own mini stages. I remember there was this one mini bus that was cut in half. And so the back end of it was a stripper pole. Uh, so I'm like, so many crazy things happened over there. And I remember those for the most part, surprisingly, because I was totally inebriated for most of it, if not
Yeah,
all of it.
right.
So, but
Yeah, I remember those days.
yeah, but I can remember it. But it does remind me of. I'm remembering what you were talking about, the CDs.
Yeah.
Whenever I was starting to get back into going to concerts and stuff, the ex-wife and I, we went to a concert. We missed the first like opening bit, so we kind of caught a little bit of the second act, and
Yeah.
it was a band that I've only heard about, and I heard some of their songs, and I really wanted to check them out live. So I didn't, and their name is Starset. So I don't
Okay.
know if you know them, but
I've heard of them.
it's a really interesting mix of like rock and electronic music. I
Yeah.
absolutely love them, but the thing is, whenever they're on stage, they have these space helmets on and stuff, and so I couldn't see who it was up there singing. And so whenever
Oh,
they
I
were
like
done,
that.
we went down over to the merch booth, and I was like, "Hey, I want this poster and I want this CD." And the ex-wife at the she was like, "Hey, I have that CD." And I was like, "I don't care. I want it in my car."
Yeah.
And the guy that was handing us the CD and the poster, he asked me, he was like, "Hey, do you want this autographed?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he just goes and signs it. And then come to find out, he was their front man. And I had no idea. And,
It's like
and
before anybody saw Kiss without their makeup. If you bumped into them in the street, you probably wouldn't know who they were.
yeah,
Without the makeup, you wouldn't know who they were. Yeah.
yeah, but it was so cool because
That is neat.
I got to see a genuine reaction of a guy that went, this guy doesn't know that he's talking to the front man, but he just
Wow.
told his significant other that he wants a CD for his car, and he doesn't care if they already have a CD. He wants
It,
one.
it was so natural, and it wasn't because he knew that you didn't know who he was. So it
Yeah.
was like, God, this guy's genuine. He's not just saying that because,
Yeah,
wow.
I had, like, you ask me to this day, I probably couldn't tell you what he looked like, because to me he was just another person selling the merchandise. I didn't
Right.
know him, and so whenever he went and signed it all, it still didn't register until after we walked away from the merch table.
Wow.
But then it just made me realize that so many times I've been able to buy merch and show support for a musician, and they don't know how much it means to me, but I also don't know how much it means to them. You know?
Yeah. That, you know, I know it sounds like something that every musician is supposed to say, and we all say it. It's like we thank people, we feed off your energy, and it sounds like something that you just. But it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Ask anyone who's had a gig somewhere and they showed up and there's hardly anyone there. It's hard to like really get into it.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it, and you do it because you're a professional. But yeah, but when you have people like really getting into it, that's like the dog song.
Uh-huh.
Like you play that and you're like they laugh the first one liner you drop on them. You think, oh, you think that's funny, wait till I get to the third verse, I'm gonna really ham it up. And you get better, I think, because
Mm-hmm.
the audience is an integral part of the band. They don't look at themselves as the band, but they are. Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting way to look at it.
Well, some bands did it actually did that a whole lot better. Like Freddie Mercury was, the "We Will Rock You" and "We Are the Champions" was written with I think if you've ever seen the movie, it was like, what if we can come up with a song where the audience is part of the band, and that's boom boom bah, boom boom bah. It's like, you make them part of the band. As long as you don't have to pay them all equally, you're in good shape.
Their pay is being able to be part of the band.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I mean, I don't know how many times I've been to a concert and was just excited to be there, and so anytime that the band has included the audience, it's really cool. I know that there was one where they had us turn off all the lights in the area, in the pit and stuff, and then everyone took out their cell phones to turn on their flashlight. That was a cool one because it actually lit up the stage better than what they had it, and it was just from everyone's cell phone lights, and I was just like, this I wouldn't have expected that, but it was really cool. But whenever you interact with the audience, what is one of the things that you're looking for? And by looking for, I mean, it can be anywhere from, like, are you looking for reactions? Are you looking for cues on what your next song should be? Are you looking for your exit plan just in case they start throwing stuff?
That's a good one. I was thinking the places I've played, there are different types of venues. I've been talking a lot about the sit-down singer-songwriter showcase where people sit down, they're staring at you and they're listening. Then, of course, when you play a venue, especially if it's a local, smaller venue, that a bar or something, and God forbid they have TVs and there's a game on or something like that. Sometimes it's what I'm looking for is just to see if I'm truly and I'm ready for that. I realize going into certain places, okay, I'm going to be background music here. Okay, this one people are going to be paying attention to me. So I get that. I'm thick-skinned, but sometimes you don't know because the people, like, they'll at the end of a song they'll clap, and you think maybe they just heard that it was the end of the song and they're being polite because people are good. Some of them, and so a lot of times what I'm looking for is, like, if I throw something out there, I like to ask people, is there anybody here for the first time? Like, if it's a venue where I'm trying to, get in good with the owners, you find out if they're here for the first. Because I played some interesting places. There's a place that has these like 8 igloos, like in the winter, a winery that has these 8 igloos that are covered some sort of like the same kind of plastic you see on greenhouses, white plastic, but they have tables in each and people can drink their wine out there, and they got a little space heater, and I thought that's cool. So I always, I'll ask a question and see how many people are actually paying attention to me. If you don't get a response, then okay, I'm just background music, and you proceed accordingly.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it is. It really is fair enough. It's okay, and it's like,
I know for myself that would have been a little disheartening the first time if I was just background music, but at the same time, it would take that perspective shift, right? Because then I'd have to think back to how many times has background music actually been one of those forefront things that I remember whenever I may not remember other things in that same time period. And it also makes, it's like the team that, hey, I forgot to warn you. I'm
right next to a train track.
Hey,
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I record here, and I
man.
have I don't know if you probably can't see on the door. I have some material, and I got material. Not proofing, but deadening material up top and here. But I'm so close to. I'm in an old ice house, 100-year-old ice house that.
Oh man.
is so close to tracks, because back in the day the train would pull off and they'd unload peaches or whatever, to be refrigerated or whatever, so that's just cool. But anyway, what was I saying before that? There was oh yeah, out of the blue someone will come up in one of the, not like people come up to you at this showcases because they're sitting listening to you, but there are other times when you're playing a venue where there's other stuff. Like I play a local winery. I'm playing there tomorrow. It's a different winery, and I'm physically distanced from the people, so that one's a little tougher to get the people engaged as far as the stuff in between. But I had a couple last time I play up there. I'm thinking, okay, I'm just kind of the background guy, and I'm playing original stuff because I don't care. It's like I played everyone else's so much. I don't, and I had a couple come up to me and they said, "What was that last song? That had to be an original." I said, "Well, yes, it is actually. Everything you just heard, that last set was original." And they immediately started following me. They said, "Whatever that, what's the title of it?" And I told them, and they really liked it. And they, at the end, I don't very rarely do I play a song twice. I just don't do that, and a lot of people probably don't do that. But if you get a request for an original song, and then you do it. But that was unexpected, and it made made playing to people who weren't paying attention, okay, you can deal with that, because every now and then someone's going to come up at the strangest place where you didn't think people were paying attention and say something very specific about a song. So that's kind of cool as a little reward.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know that I've been to a few concerts or bars and there's no one up enjoying the band, and I just get up and go, even if I don't know it, and I just start grooving along, they're like, "Oh, hey, at least someone's like, getting into it."
Yeah. Oh, and they do, and keep doing that, because they do notice it. Even if you just, you're bobbing your head, you're sitting over there, like the bass player will look over at you, and it makes them feel good. And that's, especially if it's genuine, they know it, if it is or not. I was playing a benefit last weekend, and it was outside, and the stage was an old rickety flatbed. It's called Flannel Up. It's a really cool fundraiser, and they had little fire pits. You're sitting on bales of hay. So I get up there, and I had just gotten the guitar out of the repair shop because it had fallen and broken its neck.
Oh no!
And my friend Joey, the guy I mentioned before, who also is a great guitar repairman, fixed it. And this was the first gig, and I put it on a stand, and I was getting off that stage, and it shook it enough that the guitar toppled out, fell down, and broke the neck again. When I said benefit, I mean I wasn't getting paid. So I was like, and I was in the worst mood. And I get up there, I start playing my original stuff, and there's this guy sitting standing at a high top, enjoying his beer. He didn't know me, and I'm playing stuff he never heard before because it was original stuff. And he's like kind of getting into it. Made the whole thing worthwhile. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to know that the feeling is mutual along musicians and stuff. So that way I know that they don't sit there and go, well, that no one enjoyed anything there. Because I'll get up and make myself look like a fool before I don't. So
now, when you said you were a percussionist, do you what kind of, if you don't mind me asking, what kind of, do you play like whole sets or just like a hand
it was mostly marching band in high school band. So a little bit of snare, quads, trap set if we had it.
Wow.
Stuff like that. So like I can't really do a full set. Like I probably could if you gave me like a week or two to play around with it. But it's been a while, so I don't know, my hands aren't what they used to be after being an electrician for a few years, So
well, I'll tell you what, I have a lot of, so I also to help pay the bills, I also teach guitar, and have right here in the studio, and I teach quite a few students, and I have few of them that are in marching bands. So in addition to taking guitar, they're playing either clarinet or drums, or like I have one young lady, she's a percussionist, and
Nice.
I don't know. I thought it was just a snare, or maybe is it xylophone or marimba that you would see in a marching band?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
I thought one was yeah. I'm still foggy on xylophone, marimba. What's the other one? This
There. Oh, I forget the name.
vibraphone or something like that.
There's like 4 or 5 that you'll see, but their chimes, they vary in size and they vary in the material.
Metal or wood or what? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, God. But so she says she was telling me about it, and I said I am fascinated, and this is real. Playing percussion, I've tried to do that, even hand percussion, and I don't know how I play guitar and can be coordinated, because I don't have I think you can learn anything, but I also think you have to have some natural ability, and percussion is not one of them. I struggle with that, and I don't think but in addition, learning to march, wow, that blows my mind, and they just do it, oh yeah, we're going, they're in tournament of bands every week, and they play at the high school football game, and I'm like, how do you guys do it? But
that's awesome.
Yeah. I've been to one of those what do you call them, the
drum lines.
Drum lines, yeah.
Oh, that was my dream, to be in a drum line.
God, it's just it's like rolling thunder. Whenever they have a drum corps that's in the local parade here, the local high school, like that's the best part of the parade. You can hear them from blocks away.
Yeah.
Okay, the parade's about to get really good, instead all these lame guys, the guy from the insurance company or the guy from the guitar school, at least we got the drums coming.
Yeah, there was they say you'll miss high school and stuff like that. I don't really. I miss marching band. I miss that so much. I miss my snare drum. Victoria.
I said, I'm not a drummer, and I'd make a very bad one, but I've known some. I worked in a music store years ago, over 30 years ago, and there was a guy who was in drum corps, and I said, drum corps, what's that? Well, he told me. And back then, we didn't have computers at home. That's how old I am. He brought in a VHS tape, and we put it in one afternoon, and he said, well, this is drum corps, look at it. And I'm thinking, I was expecting to be bored, and I'm like, holy crap, these guys are really good. Yeah
It takes a lot of skill. That's probably why I wasn't on drumline. But real quick, we are almost near the end of the episode for the radio. So you said you're working on something new, right? What shout outs do you got?
Okay, so I just found out yesterday. You wouldn't. I'm very close to Philly. I'm about an hour and 20 minutes from Center City, Philadelphia, and it's a great little music town. And there's a wonderful place called World Cafe Live. They're celebrating their 20th year, and they've always promoted up and coming music. Anyway, I applied to and was accepted for a festival, a little festival / competition back in July. And I thought that was it. I did it, and it was a 3-day event, and they took I think a band had won the thing. I was there by myself, but it was a good vibe, good showing. And I was recently contacted to be a featured artist in December up there, which I'm really excited about. I have in 2025, I have a song, don't laugh, I have a song coming out in a horror movie out of LA. Cutting Floor Films has a movie coming out called Meat Hook. And it's about a guy with a meat hook, and it's a slasher movie. And one of my songs, Trying to Be an Angel While the Whole World Goes to Hell, is going to be in it. And I couldn't be more excited about that. So that's something. I think the reason you and I connected was because I also finally got myself a manager, hired myself a manager, and that's kind of big news there. But Yeah, other than that, doing some festivals. Looking forward to 2025 already because some things are lining up as far as playing some more festivals and showcases and stuff like that.
Sweet.
If 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 I may, if I may direct someone to there, if anyone's interested in where I'm playing or what I have, or the quick way to find out everything about me is my website, which is just myname.com, jimrezac.com. But you can find me on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook under that too as well.
Awesome. So for anyone that's out there listening, if you want to check out any of his locations where he's going to be playing or anything like that, make sure to check out the episode on Spotify, YouTube, or at retrievingsanity.com. And I gotta ask, can we see you back on the show at some point in the future?
Oh yeah, I'd like. This was fun. This was like, and especially the time of week, Saturday, like around 11 o'clock my time is what it is, and that's great, man. I'm just sitting here chilling. I haven't said this, but he's not here. So he must have
I saw the cat for a second.
Did you see? Oh, the orange cat.
A little for a second.
He's Ringo is his name. He's he and I, and this is what I do. I come in here, I usually record, and this is my day that I do a lot of stuff like that.
Nice.
This is fun. I'd love to do that. I'd love to come on. Thanks for asking.
Of course. I got to thank you and your manager very much for getting us in touch, because this is really cool. Next time you're on, I'm going to speak with the producers and stuff of the radio, see if we can maybe play a little bit of your music.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
Like live,
Yeah, either live or have a pre-recorded, whichever one.
I can lip sync.
Yeah, you could.
No, either way would be fine. I'd be honored. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, of course. Let me clear it with the producers and stuff, and we'll get it figured out. But until then, I gotta say thank you once again, because this has been fun. I love this.
This has been fun for me. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you. So everyone, this has been Jim Rezac.
Yep. Rezac. Yeah,
Rezac.
Long.
I'll get it. Rezac. I'll get it next time, I swear.
That's it.
But this has been Jim Rezac, and this has been Retrieving Sanity with your podcast host Keegan. So until next time, thanks for listening on WDJY 99.1 FM. Shlon. All right.